Building really secure smart contracts, especially in a world where DeFi protocols are getting more and more complicated. So I basically am playing off the meme of, hi, you might want to take a look at this, which I guess was started by PeckShield or made famous by PeckShield. And obviously it's bad to tell the public hey, there might be an exploit here, because then hackers start looking at that specific case and they're like, hey, what are other things that are similar that I might be able to exploit? For example, the Curve Finance hack, where people started looking, hey, is there other pools that can maybe be exploited? So here I have on the wall of shame Euler. So, obviously people out there are looking to farm clout. PeckShield kind of being famous for doing this. So, thing here is be proactive about security. You need to know your protocol better than the people that are trying to attack your protocol. And I'm gonna show you fuzzing. So if you've never seen what fuzzing is before, I'm gonna take you from sort of the layman's journey, but basically I'll show you how you can naively find exploits in DeFi protocols without sitting there doing any math, any complicated stuff, and just knowing what are things that should always hold true no matter what. And if those don't hold true, well, what is the exact sequence of actions that I can do to maybe do something that is exploitative? So how to make a bulletproof DeFi protocol. Protect against fail cases, protect against fail cases, protect against fail cases. Know what are the fail cases that are in your DeFi protocol that could cause users to lose money, and try to protect in any way you can against that, even if it costs a cent more of gas. So typical process for smart contracts, and this is chronological, right? So when you're first writing your protocol, you're just doing little smoke testing, can I swap this token for that token under these very simple conditions? And this sort of gets you to an audit-ready state where you can have an auditor do a manual audit, and you really want to pick an auditor that is uniquely positioned to help you with your protocol. For us, we worked with Guardian Audits, which I had found out had worked on GMX v2, which was 12,000 lines of code. So I'm like, great, these are the perfect guys to have audit the protocol, because they've done really complex stuff in the past. And they're able to pick up stuff very easily. A principle that I have is you should be able to explain to your auditor in 3 or 4 hours all the design choices that you made in your protocol, and they should be able to learn it that quickly so that they can give you the sort of unique attention. I think one of the big struggles with getting audits is actually getting the auditor to give your protocol enough attention such that you don't need to go get another audit, or launch a public bug bounty and then someone submits a bug report for that. You really need to go and deep dive on the protocol, and don't skip anything. Look for red flags if you can find them. So what fuzz testing basically does in a nutshell is it allows you to test all these different random values, right, against your protocol to see hey, is there any edge case that we might have missed that would cause users to lose funds? A very simple example of something you might test for is hey, is there a way such that someone can take out more tokens than are actually in the protocol, right? This would be a very simple way of finding hey, what was the sequence of actions that led to that happening? And how can we protect against that? So sort of the process of writing this fuzzing suite. And I really think that this is a service that you're going to see. People are going to start these fuzzing services. And even going back to this slide, I would say number 4 is get somebody to audit your fuzzing suite that you have. Because this is something that even after you've launched your smart contracts, you can continue to run this fuzzing suite. And it's sort of a race against time. I sort of think if I was an attacker and I wanted to put the least amount of effort possible, I would write a fuzzing suite, and I would find a case where hey, I can underflow the ERC20 balance or something like that. And I'd say, oh, how is that done? And then try to just keep, cracking it at random things to see if I can find something. So, in my mind, it's like if the attacker is behaving naively, it's sort of a race against them to find a fail case. So how to fuzz? So number one is like identify fail cases in your protocol. So one of them for us is like we have sort of two pools where you can put liquidity. So you're putting liquidity of one token, liquidity of another token, and the way that our system worked, like these should never cross, right? And we know like if that happens, like someone can throw off the balance of the pool. And so this is a simple example of something that you can always check for such that it never happens. And if it does happen, then these fuzzing tools will tell you like, here's exactly what happened to produce that case. So you can very clearly see that. And then obviously, once you have those, then you write the sweep. The steps for that is like you have some preconditions. So like you're going to check the state like before some transaction executes, then you're going to check it after, and maybe you do some comparison. So it's preconditions, action, whatever the transaction is, minting a liquidity position, swapping, whatever it is, and then after you're going to check the state and make sure that none of these fail cases that you've identified are there, and just keep repeating that. So then you might find like, hey, I found some false positives, and then you might say, okay, well I have to go back and improve that, or hey, here's this other thing that I didn't think of before that I can check, and just getting more granular through the iteration. So the fuzzing tool that I chose is called Echidna. This has been used for a lot of protocols, Uniswap v3, MakerDAO, several others that I'm just forgetting right now. Basically what the value of Echidna versus other tools is that it will actually learn from each fail case that it encounters. And so it's going to try values in a similar range based on the fail cases that you already have. And it also keeps this thing called a corpus, which I'll show you, which has all the values that it's tried so far. So when you run it a second time, then it's going to keep trying new sets of values. And basically when I was like, getting ready to launch, I was like, okay, I'm going to spin up 10 machines. Each machine had 24 cores on it, and each machine was cost me $2 a day. So times 10, or no, sorry, this is actually wrong. It was actually $24 a day. This is the hourly cost. So I was paying $200 a day to get through about 30 to 40 million runs. That's probably not going to mean anything to you, but I'm going to show you how I was able to break Kyber's fuzzing suite in 30 seconds. From my experience, about 300,000 runs, I typically wouldn't see any fail cases after that. Like I was fairly confident. 1 million, like, okay, there's nothing that's easy to catch.